Joining me now is former acting director of national intelligence. He's Ric Grenell. Ric, it's great to have you on. Great to see you again. What's your reaction to what's happening at the border?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. It's troubling because when you look at the border and you look what was handed to the Biden administration, the Trump administration handed a very stable border. And don't forget, we welcome 1 million people a year into this country to become U.S. citizens. We're a very generous nation. No person watching this broadcast should ever think that America is not generous. We're not stingy. We welcome. We're always the ones who rush in. We give more money to UN programs than any other country. But you have to have rules. And so I always say we need a big wall and a wide gate. And right now what we have is a border crisis. Everybody can see it. And the media in Washington, D.C., they don't want to admit it, but guess what? Everybody outside of Washington, D.C. sees it. And they're outraged by it. When I talk to people in California, they say this is a huge crisis. We need to focus on having a country with borders. If you don't have a country with borders, then you don't have a country. And that's the troubling part here, because as you know, Liz, 100 million people want to come into this country. We can't just throw the rules out. Again, we're very generous. We welcome people, but there are rules. You have to follow the rules. And by the way, the line, which is really long, a whole bunch of people are waiting in line, and the ones who are in line are furious that people are cutting the line.
Yeah, that's a good point. By the way, reports coming in 30,000, caravans of 30,000 potentially coming out of South America, heading to the border. We'll be tracking that.
Well, the word is out.
Yeah, the word is out.
The word is out, right? The word is out. Just get to the border. Now we're seeing Haitians. We're seeing people from almost every nation flying into Mexico and then coming in.
We have Al Sharpton at the border calling Border Patrol racist. White House is saying Border Patrol will no longer use horses to do their job because reporters don't understand that Border Patrol has been using horses for generations, and they've been rescuing migrants of all cultures and backgrounds for generations. There's also this uncomfortable video featuring Joe Biden in 1994 that's now surfacing his remarks on Haiti. Watch this.
If Haiti, a god-awful thing to say, if Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot in terms of our interest.
That's quite a thing to say. What do you say?
Look, I served at the UN for 8 years, and we've struggled to get the humanitarian situation in Haiti right. This is outrageous to somehow dismiss people who are right here in our region. It is troubling to see, but Joe Biden has done this, and the media has ignored this. He's been a politician for so long that he's been on both sides of every single issue that's ever come forward. And I just think that we need to be able to speak very clearly and talk about this border crisis and ignore the media, because the media are always going to call us racist, sexist, homophobes. It doesn't work anymore. We're focusing on the big issues. This administration, this Biden administration, is literally falling apart. You look at the fact we have no ambassador in Germany. We have no ambassador in France. France has withdrawn their ambassador. Yeah. We have no ambassador at the UK, at NATO. I could go through the list, and it's really sad. And we've got a Secretary of State who stands up and says, diplomacy is back. It's on its back. It's not back. The bridge camp is now being cleared out. It's dropping under 5,000 in number. The White House still doesn't have the hard data on who is being deported and who's being released into the interior. You're right, we are a humanitarian country, but the lack of transparency, the reporters have been criticized in the White House over that. 2 years ago, we had then Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Elizabeth Warren. We had people going to the border, including AOC, to shame then President Trump. They're not showing up at the border. The only time they're now getting interested in the border is this, the talk about the border officials using horses. So the press secretary also doesn't know if President Biden has ever even been to the border. Let's play this soundbite here. Watch this.
We have been looking all morning, and we cannot find any record of him visiting the border as president, vice president, senator, or even as a concerned citizen. Why would that be?
I can check and see when the last time or when he may have been.
And they can't even, the RNC is saying they can't find visits even when he was helping to oversee the border as vice president. Your reaction?
This is an easy answer, Liz. Why isn't Kamala Harris interested in going down to the border? Why isn't Nancy Pelosi? These are Californians, and we have a border between California and Mexico. We have a wall. We have the ability to stop people in California. They don't in the red state of Texas. And so this is clearly a red state versus blue state. They're not going to help Texas. But what they fail to realize is that all of these people coming into the border, skipping the line, again, we're the most generous country in the world. We want to welcome people, but there's a line. All of these people cutting in line are not just staying in Texas. They're going to all 50 states. They're getting out of Texas. And so what the Democrats are missing in their partisanship, in order to just give it to a red state like Texas, they don't understand that every other state, including blue states, are also feeling this pressure of illegal immigrants coming into our communities. And again, I want to emphasize, I like to start and finish, we're a very generous country. 1 million people a year get citizenship. We have 100 million people trying to get in. We got to have rules.
Let's watch Senator John Kennedy on this. Watch this.
This year, over 2 million people will come into this country illegally, and we don't have the slightest idea who they are. Now, I think it's worth asking why. And to me, there are only one or two possible explanations. The first is incompetence. It may be that the president has put in charge of his immigration policy a bunch of pink-haired wokers who don't know their ass from their elbow. The second possibility is that this is all intentional, that the president believes in an open border policy, and you have to watch what people do, not what they say, and that he doesn't want to say it to the American people because he knows that that'll be about as popular with the American people as a
So in other things,
a fever
in other
blister.
words,
Okay. Your final word.
Look, let's be very clear. The political appointees at DHS, including the DHS secretary, they don't want to know the numbers, but the career folks do know the numbers.
Got it.
Our career officials at DHS absolutely know the numbers.
Ric Grenell, great to have you. Thanks for joining us.